known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
All right, here we go. Welcome in on a Tuesday. Can't believe it. February the 16th. It is another edition of the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. It is powered by WagerTalk.com. Great card in college hoops today, minus the snow, depending on what part of the country you are in. We got 4 games we're going to break down for you here. We're going to talk some SEC. Florida coming back, taking on Arkansas. Xavier taking on the Johnnies here today. Talking a little Providence as well, UConn. Plus, do they even still have a basketball team? Michigan State taking on Purdue here. We'll go over it all for you, and we will do it with 3 of the very best this country has to offer in the way of handicappers and a pretty good cook in Rob Vino. Tony Mejia in the house, joining us again on a Tuesday. Tony, Rob Vino there in the lower right, took time out from shoveling, and, of course, Ralph Michaels below me. Ready to rock and roll live from Las Vegas. Here are all the Twitter handles, guys. Write them down, follow them. At Mejia Dinero, at Rob Vino Sports, and at Cal Sports LV. Mejia, my friend, how you been, bud? What's going on since the last time we spoke? I know you've been crushing it, and it is $2 Tuesday at Wager Talk, but I bet you there's probably a best bet or two up there for you as well.
What's going on, Joe? I hope you got my Valentine from up north in Florida. I know, sending things via mail in Florida, things get lost, but hope you got mine. Things have been good. Just working on both college basketball and NBA all weekend, really. Took advantage of appreciating our customers by offering a high volume of picks. I'm doing really well at totals, more than anything else. NBA, I'm tops in February profits, or I was up until yesterday. Had a kind of a rocky day, but we're trying to get into the flow of basketball in February, ramping up into March, and really excited about performance and what we've got going on in terms of getting this tournament in over the next 4 weeks.
It's a great card here tonight. Some really interesting matchups. So it'll be interesting to see what you got to say there, Tony and Rob. You continue to just roll, not only in the association, college basketball, continuing to be extremely profitable, my friend. What's been going on since the last time we spoke? What do you got up there tonight?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's start with tonight. 4% best bet total up and available right now, WagerTalk.com. It's been a good NBA run. Last night I could have used an extra point out of the Golden State-Cleveland game. If Brian Leonard were here today, I'd give him a little bit about that Cavalier fourth quarter, 14 points. But it's been good for the past 30 days, profitable in all sports. So, like I say, we'll look to continue that. Looks like a nice card tonight, guys. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I like a couple things here.
Yeah, well, it's a little shocking here right now, because we're talking and I don't see a Duke game on the list here we're going to talk about. And usually every time we're on, it's about trusting Duke in February, but I don't think we're going to get there today. But you never know, because Ralph Michaels has always got something up his sleeve. Ralph, I don't think you've lost a game since March of last year. What a run you've been on, my friend, and congratulations. What do you got for everyone tonight?
Well, even though we were on a great run, we didn't force anything yesterday. We had 2% play. Guess what? It cashed for my all-access customers. 23-9 run, 35-16 on 4% best bets. I have 2 4% best bets tonight, one in the NBA, one in college. I've only given out 15 NBA plays since August. Gone 10-5 in those, 67%. So they're rare. Don't sit on them. And I do want to mention this as well. Got a lot of response from people looking at the gold sheet, being able to read everything through. I did post today's entire gold sheet for college basketball. It's 5 pages. It's on my homepage at Wager Talk. Go to the Ralph Michaels page, and you can download today's entire college basketball gold sheet for free.
All right, gotta love that here, guys. It is a loaded card, and don't forget $2 Tuesday at Wager Talk and SportsMemo.com. I believe Dwayne Bryan at Wager Talk and also Rocky Atkinson at SportsMemo.com. $2 best bets are up and ready to rock and roll. Check them out, as well as Tony Mejia, Rob Vino, and Ralph Michaels at WagerTalk.com. Best bets loaded. Let's do this here, fellas. We'll start, of course, by taking a look last night, 24 hours ago, at our best bets. And you'll notice, thank you, Florida State, for shooting 60% from three-point range. Really, I appreciate that. Against Virginia, no less. That's great. Yeah, thanks. Other than that, a clean sweep. We're talking 46, 21, and 1 since January 26th here on the show. So it has been profitable. It's been a lot of fun, and we look forward to keeping that going here today. Some of those performances from last night, though, we'll take a look, see if anything sticks out. And really, Ralph, we talked about Washington State yesterday on the show. We weren't a rivalry game. Yes, Washington has not been great, but boy, oh boy, did they show up for that game against Washington State last night.
Well, yeah, when you have very few things to play for, I mean, the rivalry game against your in-state rival is important. And, you know, what I'm going to take out of yesterday's show is something Brian said, which is be careful when you have a team like Washington State laying more points to a rival than they've beaten anyone by all year. So great point by Brian when we broke down that game yesterday.
Good point. All right, let's check out some of the covers here from yesterday that were a little bit eye-popping. Again, that Florida State beatdown against Virginia there. Obviously, it was a small card. Murray State, just see you later there, Edwardsville. They blew them out of the water. Some of the totals also yesterday that we took a look at. Longwood, Ralph, look at that, Longwood-Hampton. I know Brian had brought that game up yesterday. Stephen F. Austin, that was a little earlier. And Chattanooga, East Tennessee State. Ralph, a game that you told us all about, and don't look at the over.
Well, again, that was my best bet here on the show, and that was my 2% all access for my customers. So it's when you have an under and you see it on top of the sheet here the next morning, it puts a smile on your face.
Certainly does.
What an ending that game, huh?
Crazy. That really was absolutely. I thought that was going to go into overtime too, but it didn't. Everybody wins. Everyone's happy. I don't know that's going to be the same thing tonight for Xavier and St. John's, though. I'm looking forward to this game here, guys. We'll start there. St. John's, the Johnnies open up. 2.5 point favorite in this one. I'm seeing 1.5 now. I'm also seeing a total of 155 as it starts to creep up here. Tony Mejia, we are going to you here first. This is looking for the sweep from Xavier here tonight on this regular season head-to-head matchup. Do they get it? Do you trust where this Xavier program is right now to take care of business against St. John's?
Well, I really don't. And full disclosure, I was born in St. John's Hospital in Jamaica. I grew up a Red Storm fan in Queens. And we haven't had a lot of success. But I think this team has the goods to reach the tournament. It is a must-win game for them coming off a disappointing loss to Butler. And Xavier has actually dominated the series. They've won 12 consecutive games against the Johnnies. This is where it should stop because at this point you would figure that St. John's is in a better rhythm. Xavier had a long pause. They had played just one game since January 10th before this weekend's loss. And again, it was a game where they practiced Friday, played on Saturday. Now they prepare for St. John's, and it's a roadie. Even though the Red Storm likes playing at Madison Square Garden, they're always more comfortable at Carnesecca Arena. So there's really no excuse for this one. You might want to ride the money line if that continues to go down to one. So you're not laying the 1.5. But yeah, this is a game St. John's absolutely has circled and needs to win.
Ralph, it's been a brutal season for Xavier, man. I mean, it's 4 games since December. Things were looking really good to start the season. And unfortunately, COVID and the protocols has just thrown a wrench into their season here. Do you like them in this spot to be able to bounce back coming off the loss?
Well, I'm bitter at St. John's because I was on them at Butler, and they blew a 16-point lead in that game, and Butler scored the last basket, and then St. John's forgot how to play offense in overtime. So, but yes, I do like them. I mean, they are such a dynamic team. Now that Posh Alexander has become a scorer, it just allows them to be, Raheem Dunn moves over to the shooting guard. Xavier, again, your last road game since the first of the year, Xavier's played one road game. That was at Butler on January 30th. This is a much better team than that Butler squad. So St. John's off that bad loss. Xavier now trying to play this press without, off that Connecticut loss. I like St. John's in this. And, I've got a question because Tony's our go-to guy, like when we have names. So if 2 losses is double revenge and 3 losses is triple revenge and 4 losses is quadruple revenge, what the hell do you call St. John's losing 12 straight to Xavier? Is there a name for that? Don't. So you can look that up, Cody.
Yeah, it's called domination is what it's called, Ralph.
Avoiding a baker's dozen of losses. That's it.
And and Tony mentioned it quickly, but I think part of the reason St. John's is 8-1 at home is you got to remember they play all their games in Madison Square Garden. Now they're not. They're in Carnesecca Arena. It's where they practice. It's such a different feel for these teams. So Xavier's never played there. Any team coming into St. John's this year has never played in this venue, which I think is a big edge to St. John's at home.
Yeah, it's certainly pointing in the direction of St. John's here. They got a lot of things going for them. Certainly better form over the last month, Rob, Vino. But when you look at this, the total seems to be going up here in the market. Which way are you leaning, side or total in this one?
I'll tell you, Joe, if you just use the first game as an example between these two, that game was a track meet. And there's 83 possessions in that game. The highest number for either team so far this season. That's regulation. That's not an overtime game. But the shooting was abysmal by both sides. St. John's, just a shade under 36%. Xavier, 37.5%. Xavier goes 0 for 12 from 3 in that game. St. John's goes 5 of 18. You combine that, it's 5 of 30. Absolutely miserable shooting. I don't think you can expect that this time because both of these teams are good three-point shooting teams. They both rank fairly high in national rankings as far as three-point shooting is concerned, and neither one is tremendous playing three-point defense. They're about average on the Xavier side and a little less than average on the St. John's side, national ranking-wise. So you got the top 2 tempo teams in Big East play. I know Ralph always likes to sort things out between what are you doing inside the conference and conference games, and what did you do outside the conference and solely Big East games? These two teams, and Xavier, of course, a smaller sample size, but they're up and down the floor, the highest possession teams or highest tempo teams in this conference. So you could see a fast-paced game. If you see better shooting, you could understand why this number has gone up. One thing to note in that first game, Xavier really crushed St. John's on the boards. 57-40. They just didn't capitalize. That, like 16 offensive rebounds, and putbacks just weren't in the cards for Xavier on that night. I'm going to make another quick point about free throw shooting in this game because you'll get Xavier and they're ranked 11th out of an 11-team Big East team, worst free throw shooting team in that particular conference. But if you take Zach Fremantle out of the equation, their next top 4 scorers all shoot over 80%. So if they get to the line, I would expect points to be scored there. Both teams are off of a loss. I wonder if Xavier wouldn't have been better off, guys, off of the pause playing St. John's first and then Connecticut. Playing Connecticut, I guess their conditioning showed up. They give up 80 points to a slow-paced team. This is going to be a difficult assignment for them, but the fact that it's the second game off the pause, maybe they'll be there. Head coach Travis Steele is trying his best to get the team to respond here, saying it's an outstanding chance for them to get a quad 1 victory, which it is. I don't think they can do it. The number in this game, the total, at 154.5, in Big East play, Xavier hasn't gone over that but one time in 7 games. St. John's, in their last 8 Big East games, has only gone over this number, 154.5, once. They've gone over 4 other times, but those were against Georgetown and Creighton teams that push. Xavier probably will push. If I had to, Joe, on the total side, I'd probably play over.
All right. Speaking, this is interesting, too, of something we feel like we've just seen before. How about Connecticut and Providence here? It feels like oh, yeah, that's right. We did just see this about a week ago there as Providence has strung a couple of wins together here. UConn also coming off a win, and they get Boog Night back tonight. And both of these teams with March Madness aspirations here, tournament time, both of these teams need some wins. UConn opens up as a 6-point favorite. I'm seeing 6.5. The total is holding strong as well. And Ralph, I'm coming to you here first. What, if anything, did we learn last week about this, and what do you anticipate we're going to see this week?
Well, there's nothing we learned. I mean, because it's an entirely different team with a Cook back after 10 games and Book Night back. So, I mean, this is a Connecticut team that now is a, they were a shell of themselves. So I don't take anything into that Providence loss where they lost by 11 2 games ago. I came into this, Book Night didn't get cleared to probably an hour and a half before the show. I came into this game saying, I do like Providence. I do like the way Providence is playing, their current form. Yeah, they only had beaten DePaul and Connecticut in that matchup, but it seems they did turn the corner from those 3 straight losses. Now it's going to put me in zero land. It's going to put me in watch, see how Cook and Book Night react back. I am not going to play the game, but with them back, I would lean Connecticut. Obviously, for Book Night to be cleared, he had to have practiced. I did not read when he started practicing, and I didn't hear that report, so maybe one of the other guys did. But to me, because of that news, it's now turned into a watch and learn game, and even if Connecticut loses to Villanova on the road Saturday, they then play Georgetown, Marquette, Seton Hall, and Georgetown. I could see them having a big straight-up in ATS finish.
All right. And Rob, which way are you leaning in this one here with this matchup? The last matchup, we also saw Providence shoot 18 more free throws than UConn. I don't think they can afford a repeat performance like that. How are you leaning?
Yeah, I think, Joe, there's been a slight push in both toward UConn and toward the over, right? I think this game was somewhere around 131.5 before the news broke. It got to about 33.5, 34. But considering the fact that they put together a 129-point performance 6 days ago without James Book Night, you'd have to believe that they could get up and over this number with him out there. And I'm sure there's a minutes restriction in response to what Ralph was asking. James Book Night practiced this weekend. He had a meeting Monday night with his doctor in order to be cleared for the game. And it was really up in the air. I don't think anybody knew. I'm pretty close to the Connecticut program. I lived there for 31 years, got a bunch of, family members that went to that school, and nobody really knew until, like Ralph says, about 90 minutes ago when it was, when the news broke. So it's a good sign for Connecticut. Having a Cook back on the interior, especially, could negate a little bit of the Providence interior force that Ed Cooley's team has. I think this game scores enough to get over, guys. I wouldn't be too keen on laying points with Connecticut. These are probably, Danny Hurley's brought an element of toughness to this team. Just the fact that they have guys that are playing through injuries right now, just the fact that he willed R.J. Cole, the Hampton transfer, into being better offensively while Book Night was out. I think it shows the toughness of Connecticut. Ed Cooley's teams are always tough. For me, I'd probably look over this price. If it starts to really go, which we see totals and game and sides like this do when a guy is announced in, all of a sudden you see a big increase. Right now, I think the price is okay. Later on, maybe it gets a little bit too high. But for me, it would probably be up and over. Providence games average 139 on the road. UConn games average 139 at home. That's more than 134, so I'll go there.
It's 6:30 p.m. Eastern time tip-off for this one, guys, between Providence and UConn. And Tony, it's we haven't seen a whole lot of movement yet with the Book Night news, but are you anticipating this going up? Is there an angle that you want to get sooner rather than later?
No, it was actually, Joe, an angle I want to get later. I want Book Night to be cleared, and once he's gone, he's going to play officially. Because last Wednesday, we're talking on the show. Originally, my sentiments were, oh, he's going to play. This will be interesting to watch. And then I think before we were over, they tweeted out, and Matt Josephs announced, oh, he's out. So I'll believe it when I see it that he's actually going to play. Once he's actually going to play, you anticipate that total is going to go up, and then I want to shoot in under it because we've got Providence coming in off a poor shooting performance against DePaul. Yeah, they won by 10, but they shot 7 for 24 from 3-point range. Last week, UConn shot 4 for 20 from 3 against the Friars. We've got Jared Bynum coming back for Providence. He played 7 minutes against the Blue Demons. Really didn't do much, but it was good to see him out there. David Duke, for the most part, has been in a shooting slump for all of 2021. Providence's leading scorer. And then we've got, as referenced, by Rob, UConn has players playing off of injuries. Tyrese Martin hanging in there, but he's dealing with an ankle issue. Other guys coming back, and obviously Book Night with the big question mark. So, considering that Book Night's presence will probably mean money coming in on the over, I'd like to see it shoot up a little more, and then I'll come in on.
All right, and stuff with that game, guys. Again, 6:30 Eastern Time tip-off for that one, Connecticut Providence. We are going to head to the SEC here in just a second. Florida, Arkansas. We're going to take a look at that. But first, I do want to remind you, best bets are up, guys, right now at WagerTalk.com for these three gentlemen, Tony Mejia, Rob Vino, Ralph Michaels. Plays locked in, loaded. Be a great opportunity here on a Tuesday for you guys to lock in 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access pass and never miss any of their plays right now. Not to mention it is $2 Tuesday at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Opportunity there to grab some best bets for just $2 right now. SportsMemo.com and WagerTalk.com. Let's take a look at this SEC battle. Look at that. Arkansas opens up as a 3.5-point favorite in this one at home, taking on a Florida team that lost its last game. It feels like an eternity ago. It was just 2 days ago. They lost against South Carolina, but COVID issues again hit this Florida program. They missed their last 2, and in the meantime, Arkansas has put a 3-game winning streak together. And Rob, I'm going to start with you because this certainly feels like a buy low spot on Florida here, where everybody's going to give Arkansas an awful lot of credit, out of sight, out of mind. How are you approaching this game?
Well, I don't think there's a worse situation for a team to come off a 13-day pause than what Florida steps into here. And we've seen all kinds of results from these things, right, guys? They're all over the board. Michigan comes off the pause, plays a lousy first half, but then plays an exceptional second half. Xavier comes off the pause on Saturday and gives up 80 to UConn. So there's no blanket statement for these games, but I'll say this. If you're Florida, and in an instance where conditioning can be an issue, the last thing you want to really be doing is playing Arkansas at Arkansas, where the tempo is going to be really high. There's a lot of ways to look at this from the Arkansas side, but my idea is that it might take Florida a little bit of a time to adjust back to game speed here. Arkansas first half -2 could be a pretty good way to go in this game. Maybe Florida gets some sea legs by the second half. Of course, you could take the other side of that argument and say, hey, listen, if they're gassed or if they're not used to pace in the first half, they'll probably be gassed in the second half, and Arkansas could extend margins. So there's really no way I want to look at Florida here, although, the Florida Gators have been pretty good against high-octane teams this year. Just take those games and pull them out of their schedule, and you'll find that they went to West Virginia and won 85-80 as a +4 dog. They went to Georgia, certainly up-tempo, win 92-84 as -4.5. They cover. They play LSU at home. They win 83-79 as a 1-point favorite. And the bad game was at Alabama. They get beat by 15 as +2. I think that game, guys, probably is more like what we'll see here tonight. Watching Arkansas on Saturday, listen, they had the best of all worlds, and they still almost couldn't win. Took them overtime to beat Missouri. They get Justin Smith back in their lineup, and Missouri plays without Jeremiah Tillman. And it still, like I say, took overtime. Any NCAA committee watching that game and grading Missouri probably treats that as a really good loss for the Missouri Tigers to hang in the way that they did. Florida on the road, guys, 6-0 over the total this year. Pretty good number if you're playing totals in this game. Arkansas at home, their games average 166. Florida on the road, their games average 159. I just think Florida conditioning is the biggest issue here. I Could not argue anybody playing Arkansas for full game. I think in my case, I would probably like Arkansas first half better.
Like that angle there. And Tony, listen, Arkansas, they take a lot of shots in transition. Florida's a pretty good transitional defensive team here, kind of built the same way. Is there a edge, you think, one way or the other with these two teams?
I mean, just knowing what Florida is going to look like in the first 5 minutes is going to be a determining factor. So maybe you want to wait to play in game. I have a sneaking suspicion that the gold sheet play of the day is going to be on the high side here, which is essentially where I'm going with this. Look, I think that Florida. Rob hit on it. You never know what you're going to get with these teams off a long pause. Florida State, Florida's arch rival, had a fantastic win against NC State where they looked like they didn't miss a beat. And then they had a second pause and almost lost to Wake Forest. Needed a Scotty Barnes layup just before the buzzer just to survive that. And we know how good Florida State is. Florida's been resilient. They obviously lost Keontae Johnson earlier in the season. Then they had Scotty Lewis come down with COVID, and they still won a bunch of games that they shouldn't have won. So, in essence, I think that they'll be able to, mentality-wise, be in the right frame of mind to go on the road and be competitive. And, that's one reason I like the over. Trappish on the line, just because it doesn't look like the pause is being taken into account. It's almost like, all right, Florida, you're back. Yeah, you're about 4 points, 3 to 4 points worse than Arkansas on the road. And my projected score for this was 82-78. I had Arkansas at Missouri this weekend as my 4% play, so I was really watching that on the edge of my seat. And yeah, it was a great situation for the Razorbacks without Tillman in the game, but they blew a 4-point lead in the final minute. They had to stomach Connor Vanover, the 7'3" kid, getting pushed around left and right. I worry about him against Florida because they got Colin Castleton, who really can get physical with you and block shots. So Florida might even be able to steal this game, which is why I'm staying away from the side. Give me the total and the over.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph, it really does feel kind of buy low, sell high in this spot here. How much do you trust Florida, though, coming off the layoff?
I don't. And when you look at their SEC road games, they have 2 wins since the 30th of December. They beat Vanderbilt and they beat Georgia. Their 2 losses, Mississippi State and Alabama. I almost would have said exactly what Rob said, verbatim. Coming off the layoff, the 13-day, you're playing Arkansas. He's going to press pace. You don't know how he's going to shoot. I like the first half. But here's the reason I didn't bet the game. I certainly would only bet Arkansas and the over because Musselman's going to press the pace. They're already the 26th tempo team, 36th on offense, and I'm sure they run even faster than that. But you look at Arkansas' schedule. Missouri is the best win. Missouri is number 42 in Ken Palm. Prior to that Missouri win, their best win all season was number 51 Mississippi at home. Their losses to number 42 Missouri, 17 Tennessee, 27 LSU, 8 Alabama, 44 Oklahoma State. So 44 and better, they've lost every game this season. Up until the Missouri game, 50 and higher, they've won every game. Well, guess what? Florida right now, number 28 in Ken Palm's rankings. So, if you think Florida can practice and come out and play, you look at Arkansas's body of work season to date, it's pretty clear. They have not beaten a top 40 team yet, which Florida is.
It's going to be a very interesting, exhausting game to watch. That is for sure there. That game going off, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern time. There is the tip-off. Arkansas at home taking on Florida. We got one more game we want to break down before we get to our best bets here, guys, and that is Purdue playing Sisters of the Poor. I mean Michigan State, sorry. Purdue 5.5-point favorites, total 134.5. That's what it opened with. And Tony, I'm coming to you here. What can you say about that Michigan State loss to? I mean, it was just disgusting. It was very quiddish, if you will, here from a Michigan State squad that you don't expect to see. Purdue, in many aspects, certainly the better form here, the better team. How do you approach this game, if at all, here tonight?
I'll approach it. I don't know what people expected out of Michigan State. So, from a spread standpoint, it was strange that they were expected to pick right back up. This is a team, I think they're probably a handful that have been more disappointing But you watch Michigan State play outside of a really solid performance against Rutgers, where Rutgers beat itself up at the free throw line. It's been all over the place. Guard play has been terrible. Rocket Watts has not been the player that they expected. Izzo's been looking for a point guard all season. Now he goes into this one with Rocket Watts ill. It's not COVID, but he may not play. Foster Lawyer's got a shoulder injury, so they may be down to one point guard in this game. So you got to love Purdue here. You can't expect Michigan State to suddenly turn it on. The guy that they rely on for, to be the boost from an energy standpoint got benched because he had no energy. So this is a really bad situation for Michigan State. And they close with Illinois coming in through East Lansing. Michigan State still has to come in. I think Ohio State has to come in. So you're looking at a team that's going to miss the NCAA tournament. Michigan State hasn't missed the NCAA tournament since Tom Izzo's second season. I think I was still in high school back then. So, look, I think that Purdue has a golden opportunity here to take care of business, especially if Watts doesn't play. Michigan State is very vulnerable to another blowout. I don't think it'll be by 30 points, but certainly Purdue is the only way to go in this game.
How about it, Ralph? I mean, side total in this one, Purdue's lost 2 of their last 3, but they beat Ohio State. They've got some impressive wins on their schedule here.
Well, they've lost 2 of their last 3, but let's remember those were at Maryland and at Minnesota, not at home, where they've handled business. I can't bet Michigan State. There's no way. You start reading the quotes now, and Langford's quote was, "Oh, we feel like we were embarrassed, but we're not going to quit." And it's what you say at the end of the year when you have nothing else to say and you've never been in this position. This team doesn't know how to react. Now, first game of the season, 55-54, a Purdue win. I expect Purdue to be able to get more margin than that. I do like the under as well. Let me just read these numbers for Michigan State's last 6 games on offense. 29%, 32%, 40%, 39%, 41.8%, and 35.5% shooting. Your top performance in the last 6 games was 41.8%, and that was at home against Penn State, a team that you beat by 2. I don't think Michigan State will see my money the rest of the season. Purdue and the under for me.
It's interesting, Rob. The total opened up somewhere around that 134.5 mark. We've seen it risen now. I'm seeing 136.5. It's not like Purdue's got this high-flying offense that you can trust either. How would you approach this, side or total tonight?
Well, I'll give the contrast to what Ralph just said about Michigan State, and this is why handicapping these games is difficult, right? Purdue, last 6 home games, 5-1 over the number. Now you're using tonight's number of 136.5. Purdue games, their last 5 overs or last 6 games they've scored or totaled 145, 143, 152, 143, 166. It's only 1 under in that mix. That was against Michigan. They lose 70-53. We talked before. We had Purdue on the show one day when I was on, and we talked about the youth. There's freshmen that make up the bulk of this starting lineup, and freshmen are always more comfortable at home, fans or no fans. Home rims are friendlier rims. Michigan State, absolutely terrible offensively. Purdue at home, very good offensively, and their game totals get over 5 of the last 6. Like I said, I didn't want to go back to the Indiana State game because that was non-conference. Notre Dame also non-conference, but Notre Dame a Power 5 school. That game, like I say, hit 166. That first game is interesting because Purdue comes from way off the pace and wins that game 55-54. I think Travion Williams scores 22 second half. He gets the game winner with 4.5 seconds left. So Purdue shows that they can come from behind against this team. That might be more demoralizing for Michigan State than inspiring. And for me, I'm in agreement with both of these guys with Purdue as the choice here as far as side is concerned. They go 2 for 17 from 3-point range in their game this weekend, and Matt Painter, called them out on it. Basically, we can't go 2 for 17 and expect to win games. We have guys that can shoot much better than that. They just couldn't get it in the bucket. I think they do get some in the bucket here. Ralph was talking about Langford's quotes. They were talking about how, we thought we had something going on with our last 2 games. We were doing really good. They win by 2 against Penn State and they win by 8 against Nebraska. That's not really good. Those are, you're supposed to win by more than that against those teams if you're any good. Right now, I'd have to categorize Michigan State as not very good. And, I would probably side with these guys on Purdue. The total is you can make a case back and forth either way.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Izzo gets these guys up tonight and how they perform. That game here tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's Purdue at home taking on Michigan State. All right, it is best bets time here, guys. We'll go ahead and go around the horn and see what these guys like on the card tonight. But first, we'll take a look with our friends at the Gold Sheet and their best bet of the day. And again, now, Tony, this handwriting looks familiar to you. I think, is that correct?
Are you stunned?
Talk to me about this.
It's the over in Arkansas and Florida.
Give it to me. Talk to me.
Well, I mean, we talked about it. It's the over in Arkansas and Florida. I really think that the Gators are going to show up and give Arkansas a game, and Arkansas is going to follow suit by making sure that they're checking all of Florida's vitals for them for the rest of the season by pushing tempo. That's what Eric Musselman should do for a team coming off of COVID pause. And again, we've seen the Gators be very resilient. They do have enough athletes now with Scotty Lewis back to run, and they'll probably hang around enough to at least get some game extension, foul at the end, maybe hit some threes, get this up into the high 150s, maybe even the 160, considering it opened at 150. Got bet up to, I think it's 151, 152 right now. You'll probably have to grind your teeth a little bit there at the end and root for the late fouling, but you should get to the over.
Yeah, all right. We got pace. We got a lot of baskets on tap, and our friends at the Gold Sheet like the over in Florida, Arkansas tonight. So, Ralph, let me start with you, my man. You have been smoking. And I don't know, is there a team ranked 300 or worse in this country right now that we can play? Where are you going? Where are you going tonight, best bet?
What? I don't think you ever started with me. I don't know. Are you trying to jinx us? Jesus Christ! You always start with Tony, and you come around the corner. Do not be jinxing our best bets. Gamblers normally aren't superstitious, but in this case, I've got to say this: there's no way we're switching orders. Tony, what's your best bet today?
All right, Tony. You know he's going Austin Peay anyway, so go ahead, Tony. It's the worst team on the board. Go ahead.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I never play anything with 13s. I got some triskaidekaphobia, so all good. I am ready with Missouri, Georgia, which is undoubtedly a trap line. Georgia is only getting 3 at home after giving up 115 points to Alabama, and Missouri comes in there with no Xavier Tillman. He didn't make the trip. He's still out. I think it's a death in the family. I'm not positive on that, but he's sidelined. And so Missouri's going to have to go smaller. They'll start Mitchell Smith again. Pinson did a nice job despite foul trouble in almost taking down Arkansas at home. I really thought the Tigers showed a lot of fight, even without Tillman. And I expect them to do so again on the road. For me, it's easy. Yeah, it's a trap line. Will Georgia be competitive? Yeah. Will they probably have a second half lead to make me suffer through it? Probably. But in the end, this is the worst defensive team in the SEC by a long shot. And so I think Missouri, with Brown in the middle, playing major minutes, he kind of got his feet wet against Arkansas. I think he'll give them a nice boost on the road, and ultimately we'll be celebrating a Missouri Tigers win, and I'll come in with the cover laying 3. Go Mizzou.
All right, Mizzou it is. Rob, talk to me, my man. Which way you heading now that Ralph tries to figure out what his best bet is? Go ahead. Where are you going tonight there, Rob Vino?
Well, I always go with one that we cover on this show. And for me, it's going to be Arkansas first half, guys. I just think that they're going to come out there. And as has been mentioned all the way around the horn here, Eric Musselman's team presses. That game against Missouri, you'd have thought that they'd have just won the SEC conference title with the reaction at the end. That was a big win for them. I think it was Ralph who mentioned they haven't had a quality win all season long, and that was it, even though the situation was in their favor. Here again, the situation is in their favor. I think they can punch Florida early. We'll see if Florida responds, but I'll lay 2 in the first half with Arkansas, just thinking that It takes Florida a little bit to get used to game speed. Maybe second half will be a different story. But give me Arkansas first half -2.
All right, there you go. All right, Ralph, you ready? What are you going? Temple team total under 40? Where you going here? What's going on? Talk to us.
I'm going to bring up a situation that I like, and that's why this is an actual client play as well at Wager Talk. And it's game 614, Ball State. And I really buy into player-only meetings. When they come at the right time and they're not contrived and you have the seniors step up. Well, Ball State was that team. They had lost 5 straight. They had a team meeting. And, Coach Whitford said it was night and day. What did they do? They come out and beat Toledo. Now, BG, it was on an 0-6 straight up an ATS streak. What do? They beat their crosstown rivals, Toledo. I'll just say what Rob said. It looked like they won the MAC championship after having lost 6 straight and beaten Toledo. So you have BG playing back-to-back road games with in a matter of 3 days. You have Ball State off a very convincing win against Toledo, playing better than they have with 10 days off, not because of COVID, because the other team canceled. So for 10 days, they've been able to practice and concentrate only on Bowling Green. Wrong team favored, Ball State +2.
Love that. Ball State +2. I completely missed that game, Ralph, too, so I'm so glad that you pointed it out. I am going to go, and I want it over with quickly, so I'm going to go 4 p.m. Give me the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Lay the number against Iowa State. What was it, Tony? 21, I think they won the first time around. That was in Ames. Oklahoma State cannot afford to miss out here. They've got to win the games. Their schedule is brutal at the end. If they are planning on making any sort of postseason, provided they can get through the courts of the NCAA, I do think they're going to need to win this and win it rather convincingly, and I think they will in Stillwater. That's 4 o'clock today. Best bet time recap. Let's take a look. Ralph, Ball State, give him the 2. Vino's going to go Arkansas first half, thinks that Florida's just going to be crawling. We've got Mejia going Mizzou, lay the 3 over Georgia. Sorry, Georgia. I'm going to go the Cowboys there, lay the 11. The Gold Sheets, they're going to go Arkansas and Florida over the 151.5. And don't forget, guys, best bets are locked and loaded for Ralph, for Rob, for Tony, right now at WagerTalk.com. All you guys got to do is go visit their pages there right under the Experts tab. Pull it down. Go see Rob. Go see Ralph. Go see Tony. Grab your best bets, and then come back and meet us again tomorrow. We get to do it all over again. Good night in college basketball. Let's make it a profitable one. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Subscribe. Come back and join us tomorrow. But if NBA is your thing, hang out in just about 15 minutes. We got the NBA tip-off show coming up next here on Wager Talk TV. So best of luck with your plays, guys. Tony, Rob, Ralph. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Best of luck.
First-time customers at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com receive $25 in WagerBucks after your first initial purchase. All you have to do is sign up, make your purchase, and you'll get $25.
Thanks, guys.